Samsung's rumored Galaxy Z Roll could be the most overpowered camera plus display phone we've heard about. A 324-megapixel main sensor, 100-watt wired charging, an S Pen, and a rollable screen that expands into a mini tablet. If even half of this is real, Samsung's about to push its ultra phones into a new category. Today we're talking about the latest Galaxy Z Roll rumors and why this phone could matter way more than just another weird form factor. A leaker known as Sanju Chowdhury says Samsung is lining this thing up with a massive new camera sensor, faster charging, and flagship specs built around a huge rollable display. As always with leaks, treat it as possible, not promised. But the details are specific enough to be worth a serious look. First, the camera. According to Chowdhury's post on X, which stats, the Z Roll might use a 324-megapixel ISOCELL HR1 sensor as its main camera. That number is ridiculous on purpose. For context, Samsung's already been playing in the high megapixel space, but 324 megapixels would jump into one of the biggest numbers on a phone territory immediately. It also nearly doubles the 200 megapixels on the S26 Ultra. Now, megapixels alone don't automatically mean better photos. Sensor size, optics, image processing, and how it bends pixels matter a lot more than a spec sheet flex. But there are real potential advantages here. More detail when you crop, cleaner digital zoom if processing is good, and better flexibility for things like 8K or high-res video crops. The big question is whether Samsung can keep shutter speed, low light performance, and motion shots consistent, because that's where super high-res sensors can struggle if the rest of the system doesn't keep up. On top of that main sensor, the same leak claims a 3x telephoto camera with a 50-megapixel sensor. That's another major shift because current Samsung flagships have typically used a lower-res 3x telephoto, like a 10-megapixel sensor, and then pair it with a separate higher-res periscope telephoto, often 50 megapixels. If Samsung actually goes 50 megapixels at 3x, that could mean sharper portrait zoom shots, better detail in mid-range zoom, and potentially better low-light zoom if the optics and processing are solid. It also could make zoom transitions look more consistent, since the 3x lens wouldn't be the weak link anymore. Chowdhury also told Digital Trends that production hasn't kicked in as of now, but that development is almost done according to sources. That's a pretty specific claim, and it suggests this isn't just random speculation. He also mentioned Samsung's ISOCELL division working on an even larger 432-megapixel sensor. That part might be more future pipeline than Z Roll confirmed, but it tells you where Samsung's head is at: more resolution, more cropping headroom, more computational photography tricks. Another rumor is that the Galaxy Z Roll could support 100-watt wired fast charging. If Samsung does this, it's not just a spec upgrade, it's Samsung catching up in an area where Chinese manufacturers have been running laps for a while. Samsung's Ultra phones have felt conservative on charging speeds, hovering well below the fastest competitors. So 100 watts would be a very un-Samsung move, in a good way. Of course, the reality check is heat and battery longevity. Fast charging is only great if it's controlled well. But if Samsung can deliver a reliable 100-watt system that doesn't cook the phone or nuke battery health, that would instantly remove one of the most common complaints about Samsung flagships. Now let's talk about the roll part. The Galaxy Z Roll is expected to use a rollable display that expands horizontally, turning a normal-sized phone into a bigger, tablet-like screen. The pitch here is simple: you get more screen when you want it, and a smaller device when you don't. And unlike foldables that rely on hinges and a folding panel, a rollable mechanism should avoid some hinge-related issues and could potentially feel smoother in day-to-day use. If Samsung nails the mechanism, this could be the first form factor in a while that actually feels like it solves a problem instead of creating new ones. More screen for videos, editing, multitasking, and reading, without permanently carrying a huge slab. And if the rumored 12.4-inch display is accurate, that's not slightly bigger. That's straight into small tablet territory. Add the rumored 144 Hz refresh rate and up to 3000 nits of brightness, and Samsung's clearly aiming at premium. Smooth scrolling, strong outdoor visibility, and a screen that's made to show off. Then the S Pen support. This is a big deal because a rollable that expands into a larger canvas is exactly where an S Pen makes sense. Notes, sketches, annotations, editing screenshots, signing documents, multitasking with a stylus in split-screen mode. It's a productivity setup. And there's even talk of a built-in S Pen, which would be huge for convenience if Samsung can fit it without major compromises. For performance, the rumors point to a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro processor, up to 16 GB of RAM, and an 8000 mAh battery. Again, these are big numbers, and we should be careful. But if Samsung is building a 12.4-inch rollable, it would need a large battery to make it practical. Nobody wants a futuristic expanding phone that dies halfway through the day. Finally, there are hints of a titanium design and the bigger picture. Samsung reportedly prioritizing rollable phone tech with a target launch in 2026. Some claims even suggest it could land in the latter half of 2026 alongside the Fold and Flip lineup, which would make it feel like Samsung's ready to treat rollables as a main event, not a side experiment. So here's the quick review verdict based on what we've heard. If the Galaxy Z Roll really delivers a 324-megapixel main camera, upgraded telephoto, 100-watt charging, a massive rollable display, and S Pen support, it could be the first device that genuinely merges ultra-camera ambition with tablet-level flexibility. The risk is obvious too. First-gen durability, thickness, weight, price, and whether Samsung software fully supports the rollable experience. If you want updates as more credible details drop, subscribe and turn on notifications. And tell me in the comments, would you rather have a rollable phone like this or stick with a fold-style device? Also, if Samsung did one thing right on the Z Roll, what should it be? Camera quality, battery life, or durability? As more leaks and official info show up, we will get a clearer picture of whether this is Samsung's next big leap or just another ambitious prototype that never fully lands. Either way, the Galaxy Z Roll is one of the most interesting Samsung rumors in years, and I will keep you posted as it develops. Thanks for watching.